Like these are opportunities. Like the universe continues to provide opportunities, and we can either sort of take them or resist them. I have chosen to take them and not tell myself that story. Like I don't know anything about energy. I can't do it. I don't know anything about solar. I can't do it. I don't know anything about oil and gas. I can't do it. But like, okay, the universe has opened up this opportunity for me to learn something new. I'm gonna go for it.
Hello and welcome to the Scientista podcast, where women in science rules. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dr. Shweta Chakraborty. I'm a behavioral scientist, and normally I'm here with my co-host, our beloved Monica Medina, former Assistant Secretary of State. Monica can't be here today, so it's just me in studio with our fabulous guest, Abby Hopper. Abby, thank you so much for joining the Scientista podcast today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
This is not our first conversation.
No, it's not. But it might be our best one.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the audience to hear all about you and what your plans are now that you've recently announced you're stepping down as the CEO and president of SEIA, the Solar Energy Industries Association.
Yes.
I got the acronym.
Well done. You never have to say it again.
Well, I mean, I should have it by now because I think I've interviewed you a handful of times, if not more, over the last few years because you have been the leading spokesperson for all things solar. And in so many ways, you are, well, not in so many ways, you are the top solar lobbyist in DC. Mm-hmm. And people really identify you as the face of solar industries. The word lobbyist, though, for many people brings up images of oil, tobacco, kind of negative associations of needing to protect a harmful industry, trying to convince government that this is something that should be protected when ultimately it shouldn't. But you're lobbying for something very different. You're lobbying for clean energy. So what does lobbying actually look like from your vantage point? And what do people often misunderstand about the nature of the work that you do?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say again, thank you for having me. And for your audience, like this is how relationships are built, right? Like not just in one setting, but we've had the opportunity to get to know each other and talk over time. And so I'm just really honored to have a conversation with you
Such a
this
pleasure.
afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if my parents, like when I was little, told me that either I was going to be a lobbyist, they were going to have a lobbyist, they probably would have all freaked out, right? Like lobbyists are, people that smoke cigarettes in back rooms and make like very sketchy deals. But I get to lobby for one of the most like entrepreneurial, innovative industries on the planet, and that helps solve the climate crisis. So, what does a lobbyist do? Like, we're here in Washington D.C. I do federal lobbying and state lobbying, but we're here for a reason because we're close to Congress. I do a lot of education, honestly. Like, I feel like really good lobbyists do a lot of education because people electeds, I call them electeds, ultimately, I believe, want to make decisions that are good for their constituents, right? And so if we arm them with facts and arm them with information about how whatever we're lobbying for, more solar, easier permitting, storage, how that's going to help their constituents, it's going to make a difference,
Sure.
right? But there's also a lot of relationship building, right? So a lot of my time is spent not talking about solar. It's spent talking about an elected's last vacation, or I'm an avid reader. So I talk to electeds a lot about what they're reading or where they've been or what else is happening. A lot of lobbying is building relationships and building credibility and trust.
So, and that's something that you have excelled in, but this is not where your career started, right? You started as a lawyer. But before I get into that, I really want to understand Abby as a college student. Where did you get the motivation to pursue law? What's your kind of story?
Yeah. So I grew up right around here in Maryland. I think this is super relevant to like my story. I went to an all girls high school here in DC. So 7th through 12th grade, all girls, small school. I was told from the moment I was born that I could do anything I wanted and be anything I wanted. And so I really like that was sort of in just a core value and a core belief. So I went off to college, thinking 1000% I was going to be a trauma surgeon. Like I was
Wow.
absolutely going to be a
Wow.
trauma surgeon. I
Facts you
volunteered.
didn't know about your friends.
Yeah, I volunteered on the rescue squad here when I was in high school. I was a firefighter in college, like 100%. I took science and I was like, oh, I don't actually like this. I like riding on fire trucks. I like riding on ambulances,
Right.
but I really don't like the science. So my sophomore year of college, I decided I was going to volunteer for the sexual assault and domestic violence agency in the town where I went to college. Honestly, it changed my life. I really, like, I'd had a very privileged upbringing and a very happy home, even though my parents were divorced. It was very happy. And I really didn't realize that women were experiencing violence at the hands of the people that they
Sure.
thought loved them. And that I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a lawyer. This is what I want to do. My dad is a lawyer too, but this is what I want to do. And so I graduated from college. I stayed there. I worked in that domestic violence and sexual assault agency for a couple years. I went to law school, 1000% convinced I was going to be a sex crimes prosecutor.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, and then this is going to sound so weird. I fell in love with corporate law. I fell in love with tax law. I fell in love with like the intricacies of like tax structures and corporate structures and deals and equity and
Sometimes our
debt.
careers find us.
They do find us. That's sort of been my journey is like, it is either very circuitous or in my mind, it makes a ton of sense. It just doesn't like add up on a traditional puzzle. So yeah, that's why I went to law school. So I stopped deciding to be a prosecutor and I decided I was going to be a corporate lawyer. So when I graduated from law school, I clerked for a judge and then I became I did big law, big corporate
Yeah.
lawyer.
And that teaches you what you need, the skills that have allowed you to excel
Yeah,
in the lobbying space. But tell us then, how was it that your legal background best served you and
yeah.
shaped how you operated and the advantages that it's given you really in this industry that you're in?
Yeah, I would say in a couple ways. One is my strong opinion is that law school really helps you learn how to think and sort of analyze questions. You learn a very regimented way of analyzing problems that has served me well.
I always
Um,
say that if I could go back and do it again, I would probably get a law degree just
yeah,
because just how much it is helpful day to day,
it's
right?
so helpful.
In how you organize and just
And
think
how
through
you organize,
problems.
how you like walk through arguments, how you sort of anticipate arguments and sort of figure out how to be persuasive, strong writing, like you have to be a good writer if you're going to be a good lawyer. And I think that has served me really well. And after I was a corporate lawyer, you're not going to believe this, I became a divorce lawyer.
Okay. Okay.
You didn't see that coming, did you?
No, but I might
No.
actually
Yeah, it was
dip
actually
into some advice.
incredibly helpful. Yeah, honestly, when I was a corporate lawyer, nobody wanted to talk to me. When I was a divorce lawyer, everyone
I'm
was like,
sure
"Oh
you've
my
made many
gosh, I have a
friends.
question. What about this? What about this?" But I tried a lot of cases, right? And I did a lot of depositions, and so I learned how to argue. I learned how to like be on my feet in front of a judge. I learned how to like ask a lot of very probing questions to
Right,
people, like,
right.
"When did you start that affair with this stripper?"
Wow. You were Alexa before Alexa started recording all the evidence.
Amen. So I've seen a lot of interesting videos and things, but yeah, so that's what I did. And so all of those skills, like advocacy, writing, thinking, relationship building, they were a really natural segue into lobbying in a way that I didn't realize that I was preparing for while I was doing it.
And that communication skill set is so critical, right?
Oh my
So
gosh.
you learn that standing in front of a judge,
Mm-hmm.
getting to the bottom of these affairs,
Yeah,
and
yep.
now, and now when you represent solar, it comes down to how do you educate and communicate to the
Right.
wide, educate those that are making the policies and help communicate to the wider public in
Mm-hmm.
terms of why all of this is so critical and important to think about.
Yeah.
So we recently had Jigar Shah on the podcast, and he said something that stuck with us, which is that clean energy needs the same level of communication scale that
Mm-hmm.
the fossil fuel industry has exhibited over decades, right?
Yeah.
So we need that equivalent of a national like got milk campaign for
Uh-huh.
solar. Do you agree with this? And if yes, if no, what should the communication campaigns look like for solar?
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, I think one thing that I think about a lot is, oil and gas has been around for like well over a century.
Sure, fair
So they
enough.
have well, but they've built infrastructure that we just haven't built yet, right? They've built political giving infrastructure, they've built political influence infrastructure, they've built communications infrastructure. And so we sort of have a really good example of the kind of infrastructure we need to build as a clean energy industry. It's funny that the SIA board, before I got there 9 years ago, had so in order. This is an interesting fact. In order to have a Got Milk, like an actual Got Milk campaign, you have to have the permission of Congress. You have to
Okay.
pass a law because you're basically it is a voluntary tax on an industry. The industry has to agree to tax itself, and all that money then goes into a communications plan. So
Sure.
before I got there, this was brought up to the SIA board, and they voted it down twice.
Oh no. Okay.
And so it's sort of come and gone and come and gone over the time over my tenure. I know there's some interest in doing it at the state level, perhaps, but it still requires legislation. But your question around like what does that communication strategy look like? I mean, I think different people have different opinions. Mine is that there is this sort of, you're a communicator. Who's your audience, right? Like, who are we trying to communicate with and persuade? I always think about the persuasion factor. Um, some of it is sort of the like uh just people, customers, constituents, voters. Some of it are the electeds, obviously. And I think being able to have um, education around the facts. Like there's so much disinformation and misinformation that's happening with clean energy and
Yep.
solar, that having like a very rapid response system, and we have that at SIA, but we certainly don't have it at the scale and scope of the fossil industry, and we don't have it. We just don't have that capacity.
And it's not just solar. It needs to be the whole clean energy
Yeah,
sector that is able to rapidly respond
right.
in in a proper collaboration. And
Yeah,
that has work to be done
yeah,
still, right? I
yeah,
would say I
yeah.
think it's incredible what you've done with Sia. Absolutely. But you're right. We need the scale and we need that collaboration across the entire
Totally,
sector. That's going to be
totally.
the game changer because
Yeah.
fossil fuel companies might infight, but they sure as hell seem like they're aligned when they reach the
Yeah.
public,
They
right?
do. They do. It's like family, you know?
Yeah,
Like I tell my kids, like we can fight all day inside, but once we leave that front door, nobody better
exactly.
embarrass me.
That's ultimately what needs to happen. And you're right. I mean, it's the new kids on the block. So
Yeah,
it's going to take some time, but we also don't have the luxury of time.
we
And
don't have
so
time, my friend.
we don't have time. We don't have time at all. And
Yeah,
that just brings me back to a wonderful event that we co-hosted
so
at Climate
fun.
Week New York. It was so fun. And it showcases the power of collaboration
Hmm.
and being able to amplify a good message, right?
Yeah,
So Sia having insights into saying, let's partner with an organization that's able to reach global audiences
yeah,
quickly through social media, meeting people where they're at, because we
yes,
know people care about this stuff, but
yes.
they're getting the narrative from the other side if we
Hmm.
don't give them an alternative story that's actually based in fact, that's
Yeah,
based in data.
yeah,
And we know that people care about this stuff because energy prices were front and center, for example,
yeah,
on election night, midterm
absolutely.
elections, where we saw voters reacting to, these policy debates around energy and not really understanding what was true and what was not.
Hmm.
So let's take a moment to debunk some of these myths when it comes to energy prices.
Yeah.
How do you explain to the public that clean energy is the answer to both problems, right? So
Hmm.
lower long-term costs and the capacity to power a more electricity heavy future.
Hmm.
Because right now, because the so much disinformation is out there, constituents are really feeling that, okay, I
Hmm.
mean, we just need to stick to the status quo. Let's just
Right.
stick to what we know, what's familiar, that's what's
Yeah,
safe,
yeah.
especially as there's going to be increasing demand for energy.
Hmm.
So how do you assure them that clean energy can be the solution to that heavy future demand and also reduce costs?
Yeah. So it actually goes back to the event we did together, right? Because part of the beauty of that event was that it wasn't just solar professionals talking about what the impact solar could have, but it was actors and scientists and musicians, right? And like
We've got to name them.
Oh, okay.
Bill Nye.
Bill
We have Bill
Nye.
Nye the Science Guy, who's also
Yes.
been on this podcast, so please tune in if you missed that one.
Yes.
Nikolai Coster-Waldau, the Danish actor, who
Yes.
just has, I think, several things out right now on Netflix and Amazon, but
My kids died when I showed them that photo.
Kingslayer from Game of Thrones is what
Yes.
he's most known for. And
Yes.
we had Adam Met from the
Yeah.
band AJR,
Yeah.
who's also a massive climate advocate in his own right. But
He's amazing.
yes, we had
Yeah.
actors, media
Actors,
personnel,
musicians, media.
musicians.
Right. And like that idea of bringing in different voices. So as I think about kind of how do we convince the public about this, is that we acknowledge that the past cannot be prologue, right? We can't look to the past. The world is really different, and not just different in terms of a changing climate, but different in terms of, hey, we have all this demand for electricity we didn't have before. There's not a person walking down K Street outside who doesn't know about the AI boom, right?
Yep.
They might not know how to use it, but they definitely know what's happening, and that's going to require so much more electricity. And so it's easy. Like when I describe it to people who don't really understand power markets or things, I'm like, well, listen, we have, you have a certain amount of a good and you have more demand on it. Prices go up. Like it's just
Right,
basic
right.
supply and demand. And so if we need to, we can either limit the amount of demand, which is not what our country needs, wants, or should be doing. We have to increase the supply. So we should probably increase it with the cheapest source out there.
I wish you were my economics teacher. Like this made sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And the cheapest source is solar, right? Like doing it as we've always done it means we're going to have higher prices. Oh, and more carbon pollution, right? But if you just, I always talk about like this balloon, right? If we're going to squeeze the balloon here, more pressure on, we need more and more and more electrons, prices are going to go up
Yep.
unless we create a way to relieve that pressure. But as I said, it's, people like me that understand power markets, but it's also musicians. And one of my favorite partnerships is like, people that enjoy the winter sports,
Right.
right? And they're
Yep.
like, save our winters, right? Like I was just with someone, a member of Congress who founded the skiing and ski boarders caucus,
Okay.
right? So
Yep.
people,
Perfect.
perfect, right? Because it's like not political. It's like, hey, we really enjoy being outside in the winter. And also, it's a huge economic engine in our states. So we need lots of different voices.
Yes. And, that was one of those questions that I put forward that I knew the answer to.
Did I do okay? Did I do
Yes, and
okay?
I knew
All
that
right, good.
you would explain it so well. And I just want to underscore everything you said for our
Yeah,
audience because it
please.
really does come down to partnerships with all of the trusted spokespeople as identified by the different audiences that you're trying to reach.
Absolutely.
So really getting to the audience,
Mm-hmm.
what is it that you're trying to motivate them to do? What is the
Mm-hmm.
intention? And our intention is to move people to make decisions that are based in science, in
Yes.
data, in evidence,
Yes.
and then identify the trusted communicators. And it might be
Mm-hmm.
you, and you're an incredible spokesperson for the industry, but in partnership with
Yeah.
additional influencers and
Right.
those who have trust in certain communities, those who can really reach based on shared activities like winter
Mm-hmm.
sports, like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
or, because they go to the same church or because
Right.
they have a shared value that their kids really enjoy spending time outside on the
Yeah.
playground. And so they
Yeah.
need to transition to clean energy so that
Right.
they don't have to worry about how long these kids are outside in the heat. So
Right.
mothers as spokespeople, potentially, right?
Absolutely.
Church leaders.
Absolutely.
So all of that, just
Yes.
to underscore
Yes.
it, because it's such a critical
And
point.
as you say, like in the not only where they are physically, but how they get their information, right? Like that has changed so much. And the where I get my information is probably there's probably some crossover from with you where you get your information, but maybe some difference. And
Yep.
so we need to be in the places where people are receiving information.
So one of the things I learned from you, and that was directly, so I received information directly, which was I was very spoiled in that. Not everybody gets that opportunity. You explained so well during Climate Week New York to me, and then it was, of course, broadcast through We Don't Have Time, about batteries and storage and
Hmm.
debunked this myth of what happens when the sun isn't shining.
Hmm.
Why is this still being propagated? This isn't true. We know the answer to this question today, how
Right.
far we've come on storage capacity. Tell our audience, please, one
Yeah.
more time. We can't
Yeah.
say it enough.
Yeah. So uh, The sun does not shine at night. Breaking news.
Yeah.
Okay. And it has certainly tried to be used as a cudgel against us by this administration, as if there was some sort of flaw, like as if the entire $71 billion solar industry didn't realize that the sun doesn't shine at night. So, first of all, it's a very like concerted political effort to hurt our industry. But like facts, science, whatever, well, not whatever, facts and science, we have technology to sort of even it out, right? If
Yep.
you think about the sun always shines during the day, usually, you just put all those electrons, all that energy, you put it in a battery, and then when the sun goes down, you discharge the battery. Like I always talk about in terms of battery and not the word storage because
Sure.
storage sounds more technical. People, I mean, we all charge our cell phones, right? We use them all day. We put them on the charger by our bed at night. It charges overnight. It's sort of the opposite, right? During the day, we're charging the battery with the sun, and then at night, we discharge it back to the grid so you
Yeah.
can watch Netflix while you're laying in your bed, right? And you can like keep cool or keep warm overnight. But it really is as simple as that. So this whole argument by this administration that we are an unreliable, clean energy is unreliable, clean energy is not resilient is just patently false.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's such a great example, and that really is relevant to so many of those who are tuning in right now.
Hmm.
I mean, how much electricity do you need? You're not going to use the same amount. You will
Right.
have enough to power the things that you love to do. You're not going
Absolutely.
to be losing out. And
Absolutely.
there's economic benefits to this as well. A
Yeah.
recent LinkedIn post you did that was very striking for us to review was about your childhood school installing solar.
Yeah.
And we know that schools are struggling with
Right.
resources. All schools are struggling from needing, deciding
Hmm.
between where they're going to, what they're going to support and what they're going to cut. So here's an opportunity potentially to benefit financially.
Hmm.
So this part of the story of the economic benefits of solar doesn't get enough attention.
Hmm.
What do you want people to know about how solar could impact school budgets in a good way and
Yeah.
then the local economy?
Yeah. So if you think about sort of local community infrastructure, schools, hospitals, sanitation plants, like water treatment centers, one of the biggest expenses is energy. Like think about, I don't know where you went to high school or, elementary school, but you got to heat and cool a building with 500, 1,000, 2,000 people in it, right? That's a pretty big electric
Yeah,
bill every
sure.
month. And so if you can put solar on the roof, usually, it takes away that operating cost. And
Right.
so if it took $100 to to power that school and keep it hot and cold and lit, now it's going to cost $70, $50, $30. And so that delta, that money you're saving every month can be used to buy books, to pay teachers, to improve something else in this
Sure.
school. And then all the people that you're now paying to be the teachers, to install the solar, to provide additional instruction, that has an impact on the school, on the economy as well. So think about that for a school. Think about it for a hospital system, right? Think about it for a church. And you might say, well, Abby, you got to pay for the solar on the roof. Like it's not, and this is true. You do have to pay for the solar on the roof, but there's lots of different business structures and sort of deal structures where um, churches or schools or communities can, they don't have to pay all at once, or that maybe they don't own it, someone else owns it, an outside company owns it. So there's lots of structures where there's not a lot of capital outlay, but there's savings really quickly that allow schools, hospitals, whatever, municipal buildings to use that savings to fund other
Yeah,
things.
this is why I asked you the question because we are going to clip this and share it as a positive news story for solar. Why
Yes.
don't people know this?
Yeah.
These are the kinds of stories that are just they just don't get the attention that they deserve because
Yeah.
they really do impact the average person in the United States
Totally.
and in such a positive way.
Yeah.
These are the
Yeah.
kinds of things that we think could bring hope to communities as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that.
Of
Okay,
course.
on another note that I love that you're working on, and I know you know what I'm about to bring up, Solar Sisters.
Oh, my love.
And Scientista, of course, is very
Yes.
aligned to this. We're all about
Absolutely.
supporting women, amplifying women's voices, creating a sisterhood, a network where we
Hmm.
really support one another. And you're doing this for women in the solar space.
Hmm.
So talk to us about why this was important to you. Why did you create it? And who's helping you in this?
Yeah. Yeah. So since I told you I went to an all girls high school, right? And so
Was
sort
it
of
Madeira?
no, it was National Cathedral.
Okay. I was like so excited that I had some inside knowledge on DMV high schools for a second.
But
Okay.
it was one of our rivals, if that makes you feel good, Madeira.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I've always really valued kind of women space and women's voices. And so when I kind of went to college and got into the working world and women's voices had to struggle to be heard, it felt really odd to me and uncomfortable. I was like, I don't really like this.
I love that you came from that background and it gave you so much confidence that
Yeah,
when you reached the real world, you were like, that's not right.
right.
There's
Yeah.
something wrong with the rest of
Yeah,
the
wait, this you
world. It's
guys
not where
are
was coming
no,
from.
it wasn't coming from me.
Yeah.
And I
That's great. That's great.
both of my daughters went to that school too.
Nice.
So like I'm trying to pay it forward and they have a similar approach to like this is not right.
Yeah.
Um so sort of creating that space has always been important, but when I started writing on LinkedIn a couple of years ago, I just one day wrote like to my solar sisters. Like it just sort of came to me and I was writing about something and writing about something. And this community just very organically formed on LinkedIn.
Nice.
It was really great. And then I, probably like you, I was like, well, why don't we just meet in person? So we met in person and like had a speaker, a woman here in Washington who has done amazing things. And I realized there was just this real need to sort of connect and hear from other women. And the thing that I do with Solar Sisters is really make sure there's senior women and women new in their careers and kind of everyone across the spectrum. And at the end of every time we get together, I always like provide a space for the people who are newer in their career to say, okay, what is it that you really want to ask about like what's going on or how do I ask for a raise or what do I do with this feedback? And the conversations that come from that, I mean, you've been in those kinds of spaces. It's invaluable. So it has kind of taken on a life of its own because I think people are hungry for that kind of candid and authentic discussion. But it's also kind of cool because like there's not like some big structure, right? Like
Right.
it's not that people ask me like, how do I become a solar sister? I'm like, "Ah, you are like,
Announce it.
cool, make it so, right? Like you don't have to apply, you don't have to join, you don't have to, like, there's no ongoing obligation. It's like a moment in time. And then, people form relationships. And it's been really, like I've described it as one of the most unexpected joys
Yeah.
over the last few years because there's really been this community that's formed.
Wow. Now I'm having all of these ideas about Scientista meet Solar Sisters, some sort
Yes.
of pop-up we could do.
I
Okay,
love
okay.
it.
More on that to come as we figure it out, as we tease out the details. So, you have had 9 years at
I
SIA,
have.
and you really are just, you're at the pinnacle of your career. The feedback that we've received from working with you has been Abby Hopper is the spokesperson for all things solar. She is exactly what this industry needs. She is such a clear, authentic voice, and she's so good at what she does. It's got to be tough to to know that you are doing so well and
Mhm.
you're being commended for your work. What a great feeling. And then to make the decision to say, I'm stepping down.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting chills just even asking you about this again because I've already asked you off camera because I'm so curious as to the decision making that went into that. Why this transition now after such an
Mhm.
influential run?
Yeah. So it's really twofold. One is that SIA and the industry are in a strong place, right? We made it through HR1, OB3. We kind of know the lay of the land. It's challenging out there, but we know the lay of the land. We've gotten a lot of guidance from this administration. The 26 elections are on the horizon, but they're not right in front of us. As an organization, SIA is very fiscally strong. We have an incredible leadership team in place. We have a great board, a great chair. And so it felt like I would never walk away if I thought like it was
Sure,
unstable. Like
sure.
I was like, okay, this institution and the industry are on a solid footing. And then personally, um, I mean, I feel so privileged. I love what I do. I love what I do. And that's partly why I was like, you know what, think I'm gonna step away and figure out what's the next thing I love to
Yeah.
do. Um, it is I told you this earlier, like two of my kids will have graduated from college, one will have graduated from high school. I just got married, actually have someone like a significant other at home that I'd love to like spend a little more time with. Um,
And that's lovely. It's a full
it's
rounded experience at
really
this stage in your life. This is
nice.
what you want to focus on.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
but not forever. I mean, not
Not
forever.
forever.
Don't tell him that. Like, like a couple of people have said to me, like, "Are you retiring?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm 54. I'm not retired. Like, what would I
I
do
did
all
not get the
day?"
impression you're retiring.
No, I am not retiring. Like, my mind is so full of 8 million ideas that I'm thinking about, and I just feel like I have this like bundle of energy and like excitement and ideas and skills, and like where am I going to go? Like what am I called to do next? That's honestly how I feel.
It's so exciting. As we were saying, in transition, there's opportunity.
Hmm.
And we're so excited to see what you do next. It
Thank
really
you.
is going to be such an exciting time for you to take the downtime that you have well earned as
Thank
you figure
you.
out the next phase.
Yeah.
So we like to end on this final question, and maybe the answer to the question is right now, or maybe it's not at all. I'll leave that for you to answer. But when life throws you a curveball, this isn't
Uh-huh.
a curveball. This is you've decided,
Yeah.
you've intentionally made this decision. But we will see women that are unexpectedly lose the job,
Hmm.
or are, especially right now with everything that's happening in the current government, there's so many women that are just, they found themselves thinking that they were going to have careers for the rest of their lives, and
Yeah.
then unceremoniously it's just been taken away from under
Right.
them, right? So how give us an example of a curveball you've experienced,
Hmm.
and what advice do you have for women that find themselves in a situation that was unexpected? How do they navigate that?
Yeah. I mean, the one that comes to mind for me immediately is, I was a lawyer in private practice. I'd been a lawyer in private practice for 10 years. I had a very clear vision of like, I'm going to be this old when I make partner. I'm going to be this old when I do
Sure.
this. And then I had three kids. And so I had three kids under the age of 5. I was in private practice and I had this moment of clarity, which was, this is not sustainable, right? Like I cannot keep doing this. I'm going to freak out. And so I was faced with a decision. It's still my decision, but like, what am I gonna do? Like, do I quit my job? Do I change jobs? Whatever. And I actually met someone through my network, someone that I hadn't seen in a while. He offered me a job, which was great. It was 180 degrees different from what I was doing. It wasn't something I was inherently interested in. I felt like I was stepping away from my career for the benefit of my family. I really grieved my legal career and thought like this is it. Like I'm making a decision to choose my kids and my family over my career, but this is a really hard decision. And I did that. And that's how I got into energy.
Wow. Okay.
Um, and so, I don't remember if you asked for my advice, but I'll give it anyway. And that is like sort
Yes,
of what you
please.
said, like these are opportunities. Like the universe continues to provide opportunities, and we can either sort of take them or resist them. I have chosen to take them and not tell myself that story. Like I don't know anything about energy. I can't do it. I don't know anything about solar. I can't do it. I don't know anything about oil and gas. I can't do it. But like, okay, the universe has opened up this opportunity for me to learn something new. I'm gonna go for it.
Abby Hopper, you are such a badass scientista. It is such a pleasure to know you and to call you a colleague and now a
And a
friend.
friend.
And we are just so honored that you've taken the time to sit down and share your story with us. For all the scientistas that are tuning in and listening, your journey is inspirational, and just who you are. Just being a woman who is for women and who really just exemplifies what it is to lead with science. You are truly, truly a scientista. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for your vision in doing this. It's such a joy to spend time with you.
It's been so much fun. And for those of you that are tuning in, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this. Please share it with a friend. And if you've liked this episode or any of our episodes, please give us that 5-star review. It goes a long way for us. And go to scientista.world to not miss any updates, because we always have a lot coming up. So thank you for tuning in.